Chairman Lano.
Present.
Mr. Suslich.
Present.
Ms. Williams.
Present.
Ms. Lattimore.
Here.
Ms. Fitzgerald.
Here.
Mr. Hardick.
Present.
Counsel Perry Schulman.
Yes. Here.
Legal Counsel Steve Helmer.
Present.
CFO Christine Lucero.
Might be on mute.
CFO Christine Lucero.
I heard her check in before, but not now.
How about COO Rob Lucero? All right, we'll try to reach them after. In the room is CEO Rick Lee, EVP Brian Schultz, VP of Administration Chris Tuff, VP of HR Jackie Masango, VP of Operations Joe DeGray, and Carol Lombardo. Mr. Chairman, we'll try to raise, try to get the CFO and COO on. In the meantime, meeting is yours.
Yep. Okay, very good. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Our good friend here, John, is here to talk about the excess liability insurance. John, welcome. I hope you've been safe, and tell us a little bit about what's going on with this liability insurance.
Will do, Nick. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Our excess liability coverage was effective on May 1st. Just as a refresher, we are self-insured for the first $1,500,000 per automobile claim and the first $1 million for public liability claim. Last year, our coverage was divided between two insurance companies, with Lloyd's providing the first $9 million limit and Lexington providing our $6 million limit in excess of the $9 million, making up our total of $15 million. This year, very unfortunately, and I hate to report, the marketplace has changed drastically for the worse. Pricing has increased, but so has the availability for limits of liability. Last year's carrier, Lloyd's, refused to provide us the same limit of liability and would only offer us a $2 million limit and put several restrictions on what they were willing to provide us on coverage, which was really unacceptable for our needs, in my opinion. Our broker, which is RFD, has worked tirelessly, as we have, with all different carriers. We finally got our $15 million limit of liability, but divided between three insurance carriers at an abhorrent cost. The first carrier is Princeton Excess and Surplus, which is part of the Munich Reinsurance Group. They did a $5 million limit. Hudson Excess Insurance Company did $5 million excess of Princeton, and Lexington Insurance Company did $5 million excess of our $10 million aforementioned. The authority also purchases some first dollar liability coverage for the Syracuse and Utica hubs and the Regional Transportation Center, as well as our central parking open lots. The cost, I think you have in front of you, were up substantially. Princeton was $587,250. $358.99 for the year. Hudson, $390,821.43 for the year. And Lexington, $5 million at a cost of $363,945. We did explore increasing our retention, the savings to do so, and the amount of retention that Princeton wanted was ridiculous, quite frankly. So we stayed for the limits that we currently have.
You don't have $3.5 million.
So, I don't know if Christine's on the phone, but what is the increase of all policies, just so the board is aware of that, together compared to prior year?
I did that, $262,000 difference.
John, is it because of, or is it because of the change of just where we are today?
It's because of the change of where we are primarily and the limited access of limits of coverage as well as pricing. In other words, many carriers, most carriers have pulled out of our type of business operations. I've got tons of declinations. We've been all over the place. And the exposure presented for the premiums that are available just were not something most insurance carriers, in fact the majority of insurance carriers, were willing to do. We're a victim of the circumstances of today.
Hey,
John,
Christine, you want to?
thanks for that.
That's,
Barry, just for the minutes,
on the,
Barry, for the minutes, Rob and Christine are on the call.
Thank you, that's
Christine,
great,
just want
thank you.
any comments on how that'll impact the budget?
Yeah, Nick,
Nick.
hi, we got dropped, I just got back on, so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, a hit to the budget, because we did not anticipate, that kind of increase. So, yeah, that'll shake out against the budget. We'll be able to talk about that a little bit more, at the July meeting when we roll out our first quarter financials for the new year.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions for John regarding this? I thought you presented that well.
Thanks, Nick.
When we even went into today.
John,
Okay, then
John, this is it. Could you get me a copy of what your report was?
Oh yeah, I'll email it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's no other questions, I have a motion to bring this for the first board for adoption.
So move.
Okay, so I have a motion by Darlene, I have a second by Luella. No questions, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back up to the beginning of the report, and I'm gonna have Christine talk a little bit about our financial statement. The one thing, Chris, what I want you to mention, because I think there was some light here, but if it hit me right, was on the mortgage tax. So I'll turn it over to Christine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Included in my board package for you was the March 31 financial statements, which includes the balance sheet, the P&L, and the respective receivable supplemental reports. I would like to note that our quick ratio for our balance sheet is 2.15, and what that means is for every dollar of liability, we have $2.15 to pay for it, so that's a very good sign. I'd like to report that our cash is up by $3 million from prior year at this time, and that's due primarily to the increase in our STELA. To your point, Nick, the increase in the MRT, which is up $500,000 over prior year, and a decrease in our local share requirement because most of our capital projects are being funded with 100% state dollars. So that's good news. You know, cash is king, and I'm always talking about how low our cash is. So that's a positive. Is there any questions on the balance sheet? Okay, moving along to the P&L. We did close the year with a $2.9 million operating income, and that is due to our revenues being on budget and our expenses coming in under budget by $3.2 million. As you look at the P&L, every single expense line, it came in below budget with the exception of driver's wages, and that was practically right on. One of the things I'd like to point out to you specifically is that we did record $2.1 million revenue accrual for our COVID money. But at the same time, we reduced our federal PM by $2.5 million and our state PM by $235,000 for a total of $2.7 million. So the COVID dollars of 2.1 net against that to, if you look at the P&L, it's a $667,000 reduction in our federal line, and that's why it's a net impact of us not needing our federal PM, but wanting to get the COVID accrual on the books so that we can draw that as soon as that grant becomes available. All other lines are pretty much on target of all things that we've been discussing through the year. But if there's anything specific that anyone would like for me to go over, I would be happy to do so.
I thought this was a good report, primarily because I love the numbers. And I like the cash flow. I get a little excited about that. No, this is good for coming into a lot of uncertainties, like insurance. Here's a perfect example, ladies and gentlemen, insurance. So it's good. I'll call on the board members if you have any questions for them. Once again, I thought that was this might be one of the reports I keep because I like it.
Nick, we are keeping
Yeah. You appreciate the efforts of all this stuff from the authority in general, from the operation, how it drives the numbers and the finance, and all goes in a big circle. So I need a motion to move this forward for adoption.
William.
Thank you. Darlene, second. Any questions, anybody? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to procurement.
I'm sorry,
Nick. Yeah.
Nick, I just needed to add one more thing to my report that I wanted to just highlight. That, and I included in the board report, it's another P&L format that has been recommended for us by our auditors to get us in line and consistent with the other sister properties. It also is consistent with how the state and the federal government likes information to be reported to them. And so our audited financial statements, when they come to you next month, will be in that format. So they're going to be restating our 2019 numbers. It's the same bottom line, but they're going to be classified differently. And then that will be our format going forward. I think, Nick, and board members, you're going to like this new format way better. It's a lot more clear as to what we're talking about because we are classifying our expenses in their natural category. So I think that it's going to be a lot more understandable and transparent. But just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's all I have.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Simple as better. Thank you. It's that time of the year again. I'll be calling on, I think it's Caitlin in the room for the Champion C discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So this is the authorization for payment to Trapeze for a 5-year support coverage for all modules, user licenses, maintenance, and support fees. This will be paid for using operating funds. So as you may recall, we have in the past signed yearly agreements with Trapeze. This year it was decided to request a 5-year agreement in order to lessen the administrative burden as well as to lock in support for a longer period. The cost for the 5-year support is $1,563,148. Trapeze did stay true to their typical 4% yearly increase with this pricing. So I would like to request that the board authorize annual payments to Trapeze for a 5-year support agreement.
And Caitlin, is it to our betterment to lock into a 5-year compared to a 3? Is it better overall?
Financially, no. They have to be, their pricing is the same 4% increase every year. We didn't get any type of a discount.
But you know what, with the uncertainties, who knows where it'll be if we had a 3-year going forward, so I definitely understand that. And this is this like a sole source? I can't remember this contract.
Yeah, this is proprietary software to Trapeze.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for Kate? Okay, I need a motion. I need a move it. Board members, motion.
Absolutely. So moved.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Darlene. Second that. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Caitlin, good job like usual. Okay, moving on. Jackie has some FYI to us on the substance abuse policy overview. Jackie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. In your board packet, it contained an overview which summarized the revisions to Centro's substance abuse policy. New York State DOT recently hired an independent contractor at the end of the year to conduct a review of Centro's substance abuse policy for compliance under the FDA drug and alcohol testing regulations. The consultant found that language needed to be clarified in a few of the sections of the policies. These changes were very minor. The outline that was given to everybody outlined the revisions made to Centro's substance abuse policy for compliance with the FDA regulations. The revisions did not change how Centro administers the policy, and the consultant has approved the final draft of Centro's revised substance abuse policy. So at this time, we're just looking for a motion from the board members to adopt the revised substance abuse policy changes.
Any questions for Jackie? Okay, Luell is going to move the motion. Any second?
Second, Arlene.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. Second, all in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, are we going to go right into the regular meeting that concludes our audit and finance, or are we going to pause here and come back on at 10? I want to ask the senior leadership there. Brian and Rick.
We're gonna move right along, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Okay, folks, then we're going to move right along. I'm going to welcome everybody.